there, and welcome to the Animag Podcast.
Hey, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to Animag, the #1 anime podcast on the planet that's currently sick. I'm your host, Asylum, sitting here with
Domicus, the one that's not sick.
Yeah, dude, because you don't catch the flu or whatever it is that I have. I think it's just like a summer cold.
Yeah, it's probably that. I only get sick like whenever the seasons change. Like I only get sick like maybe twice a year.
Dude, I get sick for any and everything. Like, somebody can come by me and be sick and fart, and I'll literally breathe that fart in, and I'll catch their sickness. I have a terrible immune system.
Maybe they gave you a silent fart, and you just snuff it.
I had to work with a girl that had COVID, so basically, I think I'm like in the early stages of COVID currently. But I'm trying to not panic, just trying to ride it out and see. But we're back this week, Rent a Girlfriend, Season 2, Episode 11, baby. We are getting so close to the end, I can taste it.
I know, but hopefully they have another season and not gonna be like, oh, it's just gonna continue in the manga.
I hope at least on the next episode, which we all know now is the last episode of this season, I hope they do what they did in Season 1 for this season, where they're like, look, we'll be back, it just might take a couple of years.
Yeah.
Because if it's a 2-year wait, whatever, I'm pretty much set in my head at this point that I'm gonna just go ahead and read the mangas. I can't wait another 2 years. I could be dead by then. I need to know what happens in this story. So let's dive in. The show in general does a really good job at having you feel emotionally conflicted as to which girl is your favorite. Obviously, unless it's Mommy, because we all hate Mommy.
Oh no, don't hate Mommy.
Yeah, well, the comments in the post down below will say otherwise.
Everybody hates Kazuya.
That is true. Everyone does hate Kazuya at this point. But like, for example, what I mean, this episode has opened my eyes and made me realize that if Sumi was written a little bit better and just given a little more oomph, so to speak, you know, where she was a little more outspoken, she would really be an unstoppable character out of the 4 girls.
Yeah, I noticed that.
I think like enough to be up there and like truly compete with Chizuru.
Yes, she would compete with Chizuru. Ruka, on the other hand, no.
Ruka, no. She's gotta go. Mommy is a crazy ex that he has a past with, so at the end of the day, she could compete, but we know she's not trying to. So really and truly, it would boil down to Sumi and Chizuru. The show opens up with Kazuya doing some research. He's trying to see what he could possibly do to help Chizuru out. Obviously, remember how the last episode left off. He wants to do something for her, but he kind of feels like his hands are tied, and he can't. So as he's doing his research, he hears something hit his balcony door window, and this shocked him just as much as it did me, because I immediately knew that it was Chizuru throwing something at his window this time rather than the other way around. So he goes outside and Chizuru's like, look, I don't have much time, so I'm gonna make this quick. Sumi wants you to help her practice again, meaning her rent-a-girlfriend job. She gives him a time and she asks if that time's okay. The meetup was at 10 a.m., which he's like, damn, that's early. But it would seem as though Sumi has some sort of schedule planned out for the day, and that 11:30 was a very important time, and it was something that she says Kazuya couldn't miss, which we'll come to find out, yeah, this was very important. So as Chizuru's walking back inside, Kazuya asks her if she's okay. Now, like I said in the last episode, it would seem that Chizuru in her head is content with knowing what is to come with her grandma. You know, like she knows her grandma's dying, but in her head, I think she has made peace with that fact. So she knows that she's done all she can do, basically. And she even says only fools look back on the past with regret. And then she turns the tables on Kazuya and she asks him if things are okay with Ruka. She even brings it up again that they started acting weird at the birthday party. He just says, managing, I guess. And she's like, really? Good to hear. Have fun. And then she closes the door. So Kazuya shows up to the rental date with Sumi, and immediately he notices that she's wearing a schoolgirl outfit, and he's like, what? Boom, intro roll.
Fucking Sumi. Accent Chizuru. Hey, what does Kazuya like? Oh, he likes girls in fucking school uniform. He also is into fish.
He likes fish and young girls. He's a creep. But she did her homework, though, and that proves to be very viable for her in this episode, because without her going and doing all the recon that we know she did, the date might have not gone as perfectly as it went. So he greets Sumi, and she points in a direction, and she just starts heading that way. And Kazuya's really confused with this uniform that she's wearing, and he starts to beat around the bush about it, trying to figure out why she wore one. He says, Chizuru didn't tell me anything about a uniform, so I just dressed normally. And finally, after some time, he just asks her, do you wear uniforms often? She pulls out her phone and she starts typing, and the text says, I just thought you liked school uniforms, Kazuya. And he's like, what? Me? And then he thinks about what could have given her that idea that he likes schoolgirl uniforms, and then it hits him. And he asks her if she saw him and Chizuru at the park on their rental date. And this does get confirmed. She did see them. They both kind of wind up getting embarrassed here in this moment. Kazuya, because he was seen on the rental date with Chizuru, and Sumi because she assumed he liked schoolgirl uniforms, which I mean he does, and then she decided to wear one in an attempt to try and be cute for him. So I really don't know why she was being all embarrassed right here. So he realizes that they're at Aqua World, which is like an aquarium. It's actually kind of a perfect date to take Kazuya on, seeing as he's kind of a fish nerd. And he wonders if Chizuru told Sumi that he likes fish, or if this is all just a coincidence. And she actually speaks right here, one of the handful of times in this episode, which is kind of nice. And she says, I wanted to guide you today. So they get inside and she's showing him a bunch of cool shit, like this rad pirate ship ride. And he notices that she's just kind of sitting on the floor. And he's like, are you okay? She's like, yeah. So he sits down beside her, and then this penguin walks out. And he goes up a little ramp and he pulls a string with his mouth, and it just reveals a scroll that says penguin. What the fuck?
I ain't gonna lie, that penguin kind of reminded me of one of our old co-workers.
Who, man?
You know, Podhole, Super One.
Oh my god, yes. That would definitely be her. Let me show y'all a trick. Pulls a string down to reveal a banner with its name on it. So right here, Kazuya's like, so she knew about this, meaning that she probably has already been here or came here and did a tour by herself to plan all of this out. That's going to come back later into this conversation we're having. So he thinks in his head that her lack of communication skills makes it hard to predict what she's going to do or what she wants to do. She then takes him on a merry-go-round, and he notices that her face was beet red on this ride as they were sitting together. They were like really close together. And he realizes that she's really forcing herself to do all of this. The ride starts moving, and he's like, hey, this could actually be fun, when boom, the airflow lifts up Sumi's skirt and she has to catch it. And Kazuya starts spitting out water, which I don't even know where the fuck the water comes from, because he wasn't drinking
He's
any.
like, damn, them thighs. Ayo.
And he's like, them thighs! Really threw this man for a loop. So they take a picture by one of the fish tanks with a stuffed dolphin, and they go to see the jellyfish hall. They have a coffee. Essentially a typical but fun aquarium date. And Kazuya points out how this itinerary is kind of strict. Sumi's just doing everything back to back to back with no rest time in between. They wind up in the underwater tunnel, and Kazuya sees a swordfish and he completely nerds out. He starts spitting facts about the fish. Then he catches himself and he's like, God damn it, that must have been so cringe. But Sumi actually liked it. And he mentions how she might actually wind up being a natural at this job, the whole rent-a-girlfriend thing. And I kind of have to slightly agree to an extent. Like, sure, her communication skills need a lot of work, but when it comes down to the actual date, she really did plan out the perfect one for Kazuya. And I think she realized this as he was blurting out facts about the fish. That could be her special skill in the rental business, is making sure the date that she goes on with the renter is super catered to what they like versus just going do something typical like bowling and dinner. You know, maybe that's Sumi's superpower in that business.
Yeah, basically, like, instead of worrying about, you know how Kazuya with Chizuru, he wants to make Chizuru kind of like happy, you know, kind of get entertained. Where for Sumi, she wants the client to have a great day.
I just feel like Chizuru's gonna go do some typical, like, run-of-the-mill bullshit, but she has better communication skills, where Sumi is not so great at communicating, so, like, she can make the client feel more loved or more at home just by taking them on a really rad date that she set up. So you got two girls that could be dangerous in this job, but dangerous in two separate categories.
If they fused, they would be the ultimate Rent-A-Girl.
Honestly, yeah, if they would fuse, if Sumi could, like, adapt and get Chizuru's communication skills, yeah, she would be top notch. So finally they get to the area where the dolphin show happens. And he mentions how he's always wanted to go there. Sumi lights up when she hears this. And Kazuya notices a sign that says the show was at 11:30, which is what Chizuru must have meant when she said he couldn't miss 11:30. So Kazuya takes a seat while Sumi went off to get them drinks. She comes back and she taps him on the shoulder, and she kind of notions that they should move up a few seats. And at first he's confused and he's like, why the fuck should we move up a couple of seats? But then she points to some water on the ones where he was, letting him know that whoever sits there always gets wet from the dolphins splashing. It's right here that he asks himself if Sumi came here in advance to check all of this out. So the show starts and Kazuya's freaking out. He's having a super good time, and Sumi's just looking at Kazuya. She kind of has watery eyes and her heart's beating really hard. And at the end of the show, it was time for the dolphin to splash the front row crowd. And it starts doing its thing, and all the kids are having a great time. But it turns out one of the dolphins was feeling extra good that day and would wind up splashing all the way up to Kazuya and Sumi, drenching them in water.
That dolphin was like, I see y'all bitches move up. I'm going for you. I'm reaching my limit today. Break 'em, John.
We are getting wet today, boys. So Kazuya looks over at Sumi, and she gets wetter than he did. And he notices that the schoolgirl uniform at this point was basically see-through because he could see her bra. And he quickly rips off his button-down shirt and he hands it to her. In his head, he's like, I saw nothing. I saw nothing.
I saw nothing.
And then
keep it together.
This dude sees
in the pants.
This dude sees one little tiny piece of bra and he's having a fucking meltdown. Get it together, my dude. So then we hear Sumi apologize, and Kazuya realizes that she's apologizing because she must feel like she's failed him as a guide. So to make her feel better, and I suppose because he was also just having a great time, he starts to laugh and he says that this is what makes the dolphin shows so great. And he even pays her a compliment by saying she's super cute and how she is the best guide just based on how much fun he's having. So Kazuya goes to walk off to see if there is a shirt or a towel he could buy to dry them off. And we slightly hear Sumi say, crushing on you. This is what she says first, but she says it so low that he stops and he's like, what? She freezes, and after a little bit, she says, oh, we're crushing it. So I think, like, right here, she was trying to tell him that, look, I have a crush on you. And then when he was like, wait, I didn't hear it. What'd you say? She just quickly reverted that situation into just saying, oh, we're crushing it. Because then he's like, oh, we're on track with the schedule, huh? And she's like, yeah, good save, Sumi. Really good save. We can come to the conclusion that she was trying to tell him that she had a crush on him because as he starts to walk away, they show Sumi and her heart is beating faster than ever, like about to beat out of her chest.
Oh yeah, I was hearing that. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, I think it's because she was getting ready to just try and tell him straight up, look, I have a crush on you, but she backed out. So they get changed into some shirts that they found at the gift shop, and Kazuya's like, at least this one isn't see-through anymore. And after the aquarium, they wind up at a spot by a bridge in the city, a real romantic setting, and they sit down, and at first, there's a massive gap between them. Kazuya's thinking about the date and how perfectly planned out it was. He questions if this was all just professionalism, or was this perfect because of other reasons? Because why go that far for just a rental date? He realizes that the area that they're sitting at currently at night was fueled by, and in his words, horny couples. And he says this because we see one couple and the girl was like, oh, it's time to head back to the hotel. And she's like, we should pick up some strong booze on the way home. So Sumi slowly starts to kind of scooch closer to Kazuya, and he notices right away, and he's like, what is going on? She says his name, and he's like, what, you want to leave? And she shakes her head no. He notices that she's panicking, and she's also blushing really hard at this point. point.
I ain't gonna lie, whenever she scoot in, I thought Kazuya scoot away.
Dude, that would have been so funny.
He would go to the edge, she's like, fuck. Sumi's just like, I got you now, bitch.
They're just chasing each other on the bench. So the next thing you know, she makes a quick, sudden movement towards him, and I thought she was just going in for the kiss. And he screams, and then we see her, head down, arms in the air, holding a gift out for Kazuya, and she says, happy birthday. Really dramatic if you were just gonna give someone a gift. Like, I thought she was about to plant one on this man. That would have been Kazuya's second big kiss of the season. So he opens it, and it's a really cool beanie with a little fish on it, and he realizes that she remembered when his birthday was from when she asked some time ago. Then he realized that today was more than just a rental date. It was a way to celebrate his birthday with him and to also get some practice in. The entire day was basically a gift, not just the hat. And he realizes how far Sumi has come compared to the last time where she literally didn't say a single word. And then he thinks back to Ruka saying how she has come so far and Chizuru is also making advances in her life. And he thinks to himself how he is the only one who is still stuck in place.
Yep.
And it's like, yeah, bro, stop being a shitty person and leading 4 girls on and just tell them what you want.
Yeah, bitch, you tried to be greedy and then fucking Chizuru had to help you.
Exactly. Man up, and then maybe you wouldn't be stuck in place.
Ruka was kissing you should have fucking pushed her away.
Threw her into the wall and said, get off, bitch. So Sumi sees that he's a little depressed, thinking about all of this, and she asks if something's wrong. She does this off her phone, obviously. Like, she types it and shows it to him. And he's a little hesitant at first, so he tells her, but he tells her in a way that does not out anyone. However, I think at the end of this, she knew who he was talking about, okay? She puts her hand over his, and she's like, please talk to me. It's my turn to play the role of the wall. And this can kind of go back to what we said a little while ago, where Chizuru might not be taking these people on very elaborate dates, but she's a good listener. She's someone that you can tell your problems to, and she can maybe give you advice because she has good communication skills. So I think when Sumi says, it's my turn to play the role of the wall, I think that's what she meant. She wants to be the listener and maybe give some advice. She's really trying her best to practice here. So he tells her the story of Chizuru. He just says, my friend. He doesn't say the name, and how her grandma is sick and might go soon, and how she has no family after that. He says how it must be so sad for her, yet she continues to put on such a strong face. He then kind of gushes about Chizuru and says how she's always been a good friend and she's always helped both him and his family out, even in her lowest point. Remember, he's not said Chizuru's name here, he's just saying, my friend. So he tells Sumi about her dream of wanting to be on the big screen and share that moment with her grandma before she does die. And just basically the entire story that we learned of Chizuru this season is what he tells Sumi. And at the end of this, he's crying and he catches himself. But then he notices that this story also has Sumi crying. And she says she knows how he feels, and she tells him to not carry all of that weight alone. She says how she's there for him, and I think if she can be like that on every single rental date, she's gonna be at the top of that fucking website.
Sit down, Chizuru.
Dude, honestly, yes. If she's planning out perfect dates and if she listened to his story, I mean, these might be real emotions, but she still showed emotions to his story. She says she can relate. She's like, look, I'm here for you. Like, that's kind of fucking 10 out of 10, my dude. But I think she was that way for this particular person because it was Kazuya and she likes him. So they cry together for a while, and all the while she was still holding his hand, but he notes that she wasn't holding his hand like someone would on a date. She was holding it more like a way to tell him one didn't need to be family to share in the pain. She was comfort holding his hand. So I don't know, that's pretty nice.
I think that was my favorite part was
the crying session,
the whole park scenery.
Yeah, the atmosphere was perfect for that scene. So after all of this, they get to the train station, and Kazuya looks like complete shit from crying so much. This dude's eyes are like black underneath, and he thanks Sumi, and he says how he didn't realize talking about it could lighten the load so much, and he says how she was the best guide he could have hoped for. She says bye, and then she walks off. Then he says that he needs to get his act together, and he notices an ad for a movie. Now, this movie, the ad said it was a crowd-funded, which usually means like the fans paid for it, okay, or will pay for it. He says it's important to rely on others, and then he's like, that's it. I think I found it. What I can do for Chizuru. And then boom, the credits roll.
I ain't gonna lie, I seen Ruka on that.
On what?
The
movie?
Whatever he was looking at, yes.
Yeah, that did look like Ruka. It did. But we'll finish this off and then I'll tell you my theory, because that movie ad that he saw is very vital to my theory. So for the next episode stuff, we see Chizuru walking with someone that's not Kazuya, and she's holding his hand. So first of all, who the fuck is that?
I think that's like, we're gonna go through her past on how, like, what made her.
You think it was like her boyfriend or
actor.
something? Like an ex?
No, like her first, like, day on the job, rent a girlfriend. Like, being a rental girlfriend.
Okay. Cause like, right after this, we see her watching a movie at the movies and she starts to tear up. Like, she's starting to cry seeing this movie. So... You ready for this ready for this theory?
That was her boyfriend and she was watching a sad ass movie.
I don't have a theory for who the guy was, but I have a theory for the movie. I think Kazuya somehow got her into this crowd-funded movie. Obviously, like, if the crowd's paying for it, when it's a crowd-funded movie, they get to say, like, what does and doesn't happen in the movie. So maybe he ends up, like, paying a fuck ton of money to have, if that was Ruka, have Ruka taken out the movie, have Chizuru put in the movie. Or just scratch the whole Ruka thing altogether, or just pay to have Chizuru put in the movie so that her grandma could finally see her on the big screen. That's what he can do for Chizuru. You know how big of a dub that would be for this man?
That would be a really big dub, but will it happen?
I don't know. I really don't know. Or she was watching a movie that had Ruka in it, and that's why she was crying. She's like, Ruka made it before me, that bitch.
That bitch, I'm gonna kill her.
So the next episode's called Girlfriend and Me, and this is confirmed that it will be the last episode of the season.
Yes.
So,
like, for me, for this episode, I had to, like, watch back on whenever they were at the park, because, like, I kept on getting distracted.
Wait, whenever they were having the cry session?
No, whenever the bridge would appear, I was like, oh, will lightning strike over there? Which, I was like,
God. This man was so consumed by the fucking atmosphere of the scene. God damn.
You wouldn't get it because, like, there's a bridge scene in Scientific Railgun and in Certain Magical Index between the two main characters, and that's like the best arc in that series, and holy shit, I kept on thinking about them too.
I mean, that was a pretty strong scene for the entire episode, to be honest.
Yes.
It's like, we went into this episode knowing the Sumi that we've known for, you know, what we've learned this season, and she just slowly but surely leveled up by each moment in this episode.
Yeah, and Ruka is slowly going down.
Here's the thing, and I'm glad they didn't have it be to where Kazuya was still fucked up in his head about the kiss. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Remember how, like, he wanted to out to Chizuru's grandma and all this, all because of this kiss that, like, get this man off, like, don't make him think about that no more. And I think that doing this was the right thing, because now he's got Sumi to think about as a big time player. I'm gonna probably give this episode a 7, I'd say.
I'm giving it a 7.
Okay. Solid 7s. Obviously, it's just a filler episode. I mean, this does add something to the story for Sumi, but overall, I think this was just a filler.
Wouldn't it be like a little bit of story with Kazuya because of Sumi saying that she's always there for him?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like majority of it just kind of helps Sumi's story. We'd need a little more development between them two for it to be super vital for Kazuya. But in a sense, like, I guess it does kind of help him too, because now he knows how fucking rad Sumi is. Like, this chick took her own time, went to this fucking aquarium. She did this tour herself so she would know exactly where and how to bring this man around, knowing that he liked fish, bought him a fish beanie, which is also something that's even nicer, because I thought she was gonna go back to the store and buy him that ugly ass fedora.
Yeah, me too.
And she ends up buying him a really cool beanie. What do you think he likes more? You think he likes the phone case with the fish that Chizuru gave him, or the beanie with the fish that Sumi gave him?
Or the tie that Ruka...
Dude, okay, I was gonna say the tie, but the tie... The tie can't even compete because it don't even have a fucking fish on it.
I know. Didn't it have like dinosaurs on it?
Yes, because Ruka is a fucking child.
Oh, this would make him more man-like. Like, no.
That's like giving this man dinosaur chicken nuggets. Like, bro, you know he likes fish. Maybe Ruka doesn't know that he likes fish, but regardless, it took Sumi all of 2 seconds to find out that he's interested in fish?
Yeah.
And Ruka went to his house. He has a fucking fish. He has a snake fish. That's a dead giveaway.
Now hear me out. Sumi could be number 1 right away if Sumi would fuse with Chizuru and our boy Hagita.
Oh my god. She would be like...
She's just like him. Like, he barely got
true.
any screen time, and you just like the character.
Honestly, yeah, because they really did Sumi dirty this season with how little they wrote her into the show, but not the older rental dates they went on, but like this one was fucking... She didn't have to say much, and I was like, damn, it made me... I had her down at the bottom just because they didn't really write her into the story, but now she quickly goes right up there. Ruka's 100% at the bottom. It's Chizuru, Sumi, Mommy, Ruka.
God damn. We already know who he's gonna end up with.
Yes, the queen. It was never not gonna be Chizuru, man.
Oh, man.
But that's pretty much it for this week's episode. All we gotta do now is make it to Friday and
For the finale.
finale.
Of season 2.
Very exciting, man. This has been a journey. I don't know what I'm gonna do with myself once we don't have to record for Rent a Girlfriend. And we're just waiting for Chainsaw to happen.
Oh, don't worry.
It's gonna feel weird.
We got something. We got something.
We got something, I guess.
AMOP. Baby.
Oh my god, true. We can start on that. We can start on that.
It probably won't take a lot of time, too.
I don't think so. I think those will move pretty fast in the beginning. Once we start getting a little deeper into the story.
That's when...
Because then we can analyze shit a little bit better. If you don't know what we're talking about Animag One Piece, where we're going to be reviewing every single episode of One Piece that exists.
Yes.
So
start its asylum on the greatest anime.
Oh, that's going to be a journey. Hopefully I don't die in the middle of this journey.
Nah, you're gonna make it to the end. You're gonna make it to where they get the One Piece.
Let's do it. So that's gonna pretty much do it for this week's episode. We hope you enjoyed. Sorry that I'm sick and my voice is a little gross. Hopefully that clears up for the next episode and then our overall review of season 2. I'm praying. But if not, tough titties. We're still putting it out. Thank you all for listening. We'll see you next week. And until then, take it easy and so long, everybody.
Sayonara. You forgetting something?
Thank you for listening.
There we go.
Be sure to visit at www.animag.org.
Woo!
Bye. Tee. Was that good?
Yes, that was perfect.